It was bold, it was brazen. On an Easter weekend, posing as workmen, they carried out the biggest burglary in English criminal history. While London slept, a CCTV camera captured the gang removing millions of pounds worth of jewels and other precious items in bin bags and wheelie bins. They had found a way into the supposedly burglar-proof vaults beneath London's famous Hatton Garden jewel district and helped themselves to the contents of more than 70 of the boxes where Hatton Garden traders kept their most valuable stock. This was the mess that was only discovered when business resumed after the holiday. Police surveillance cameras would later capture 3 of the pensioner ringleaders reliving the burglary over a pint. Kenny Collins, Terry Perkins and Brian Reeder enthusiastically gesturing to show how a pump was used with a drill to gain access to a fortune. Reeder and Collins are in their 70s. From the man who tracked them down, they get no respect for that.
These were callous thieves, and they had no obviously consideration for the victims that were deposit box holders. They were hoping to achieve one last crime where the takings for them would have been considerable. They were hoping to make up their own pension pot by taking that from others.
The police now know that for years these seasoned criminals had been looking at Hatton Garden for one last and history-making job.
When you look at the planning, they were doing internet searches about the drill they would need to get into the vault as early as 2012.
The trial heard the ageing criminals had met up regularly at a North London pub to discuss their plans, using their free travel cards to get there. They had viewed YouTube videos of the type of drill they'd need to gain access to the fortified vault. This was one of the ringleaders, Danny Jones, shopping for more tools in West London after a first attempt to break in had failed. It still took 2 attempts on 2 separate days before they broke through. This is an exact reconstruction of the vault's main defence. 20 inches of solid concrete wall that the raiders had to drill through. It took 2 attempts with 2 separate drills to achieve this. A hole, yes, but so narrow the gang would have to have someone very small or very thin to get through. Another indication of the planning that went into this operation. So thoroughly planned, they'd even obtained keys to the building opposite the vaults, which overlooked their target. Kenny Collins, one of the oldest conspirators, took that part. At 75, Kenny Collins wasn't suited to a physical role in the robbery. Instead, he spent that weekend perched up here, acting as lookout, watching down Hatton Garden for a police response that never came. The gang's white van left with at least £14 million worth of jewellery and precious stones. Scotland Yard was left embarrassed. But it wasn't long before detectives were knocking on doors and making arrests. Secret mobile phone recordings, vehicle number plate tracing and CCTV led police to the criminals and landed the gang in court. Not the first men of a certain age to fall foul of modern technology. But detectives say it would be a mistake to glamorise their crime. The precious stones in these boxes represented the savings of many small businesses. One retired jeweller effectively lost his pension.
The thing is, if it's a safe deposit box, you don't insure because nobody asks what is there. I know it sounds like it's all funny stock, but it's not.
Not all gang members have been detained. This man with striking red hair, who the police call Basil, hasn't been traced, and neither has around £10 million worth of stolen property that is still missing. Tonight, taxi driver John Harbison, accused of transporting stolen property but cleared by the jury, returned to his Essex home.
I will talk to you, but not now.
But in Belmarsh prison, 7 guilty men whose combined age is 444 are waiting to discover how much older they'll be before they can return to the outside world. Paul Davis, News at 10.